So we get all the way to Tokyo, right? Quentin, Ben, and I were in this gaming place, and Ben's trying to win this cat. It's this cat plushie. You're trying to win it out of the claw machine. He's trying. Probably tries 5 or 6 times, right? And he runs out of coins. So he's got to go to the coin machine exchange to get some more coins to win the cat. Destined to get this cat. The problem is, couple, mid-20s, while he's at the coin machine exchange, goes up to the machine, and they win the cat on the first try. And so, Ben's crashing out. He's pissed, right? He wanted the cat, and there was only one in the machine. Cat's gone. Trips off to a rough start. Dropped some coins into the machine earlier. Got his cat stolen by a Japanese couple. What can you do, right? That's just what happened. Day 2, let's go. So we wake up, have breakfast from 7-Eleven. I'm eating those pancakes with the margarine and the maple syrup. So fantastic. If you guys go to Japan, or if you've been to Japan and you haven't tried these, try them. They are fantastic. They are the perfect breakfast. The boys, like I said in the first video, didn't have too many plans or things they wanted to do, so we wake up and we're trying to figure out what to do. Kamakura was a spot on my list that I wanted to go to in this trip, but I didn't think that we were actually going to get there. But I floated the idea to the boys, they were down, so we jumped on the train from our place in Ojima. But I want to say it was like an hour train ride down to Kamakura. And for those that are unfamiliar with Kamakura, all the reels and TikToks that I had seen of it, it's kind of like the anime town, right? It is the city that is showcased in a lot of animes. People biking by the ocean, the cable car trains going by. And we get there and we are experiencing that right away. We're seeing people on bikes, we are seeing the cable car trains go by, and it is a completely different vibe. And similar, I suppose, to the US, but what I really love about Japan is you can go somewhere 30-40 minute train ride and you're going to get a completely unique feel and experience, completely different from Tokyo. And so one of the things that I knew was in Kamakura was the Kotoku Inn, which is the giant Buddha statue. And so we're walking towards that. We're following Apple Maps, and it's leading us. It's like a 25-minute walk from the train station. We're walking along, and I see on the maps directly in front of us, there is this giant shrine and temple. And it's the, let me pull it up to be sure, it is the Hasedera Temple. And so I see that on the map, and I'm like, hey boys, you want to go to this temple before we go to the Buddha statue? And they said, yeah, sure, why not? And this is one of my biggest tips that I will push in probably every video, because I stated this in the first video. When you guys travel, have somewhat of an idea of what you want to do, right? Have a plan so that you're not wasting the trip. But also be open to adapting. Be open to, if you walk past something, you walk past a shop, you walk past something that, catches your eye, something that you want to check out, check it out. Don't just live and die by the itinerary that you've created for yourself, because you will lock yourself out of experiencing very cool and important and impactful things that you would not potentially miss out on if you were just open to adapting your plan. So I told the boys, you guys want to hit this temple? This seems really cool. And they said, yeah, of course. And we spent probably an hour and a half, 2 hours at Hasedera, because it's so massive and there's so much to do. And so, you walk through and we cleanse our hands with the water, and you see all these Buddha statues, and then you get to this really beautiful viewing place, and there's a little cafe nearby where you can see the ocean, and you see the seaside and all the houses and the restaurants and the beach, and it's just such a beautiful view. There's a picture of me right there. Such an awesome place. And they had a bunch of vending machines there, so we sat down for probably 10-15 minutes. We all had a drink and we chilled and just lived in that moment and felt the ocean air. And checked out the beautiful site, and then we continue checking out the temple. And there's a bunch of different areas in this. There were some koi fish, there were some koi ponds, which was really cool to see. Those were my first koi that I saw in Japan. And then there's this staircase that you take up, and it's relatively steep, but it's pretty short. And you get to this beautiful viewing point, and it's like you're close to the ocean, and it's basically just an elevated part of where you were prior. And it's just such incredible views. The videos don't do it any justice, and it was just such an awesome time up there. And then we go to the other side of Hasedera because it's a pretty big area, right? And there is this red gate, and there is this cave that you enter. And you enter, and there's natural light coming into the cave, and there's carved Buddha statues into the cave walls. And you continue walking through the cave, and then there's this point where you have to crouch down, and you have to crab walk essentially for a little bit, and it is very cool. And there's a ton of little Buddha statues carved here, and really cool experience. And so that was something that we accidentally stumbled upon, and it turned out to be a fantastic time. We stayed there for probably, I mean, I can tell you how long we stayed there. We got to Hasedera at probably 3 o'clock. This was a later day. We were still kind of adapting to the time zone change and just the flying. We were pretty tired, so we did get up late this day, but we got there at about 3, and we're not leaving Hasedera till 4:30. I think we got there at 3. I'm trying to look at my camera. We may have gotten there earlier actually. But we were there for an hour and a half, 2 hours. It was a very beautiful experience, and I don't want to spoil inside the main shrine. I'm not going to spoil that. But walking in there, I was mind blown. It was absolutely incredible. And so Hasedera Temple, fantastic. If you go to Kamakura, check it out. It is absolutely worth it. So after that, we head up north on the road. We're walking, it's probably like a 5 or 10 minute walk, and we go to Kotoku Inn, which is the massive Buddha statue. And we got there at 4:30, and the last entrance is at 4:30. So just a little bit of, an important kind of tip that we learned. If you're going to places that aren't in Tokyo, the nightlife is non-existent there. It doesn't happen. So the shrines, the hot spots of the area are closing quite early. So pay attention to that. Research the times. We were fortunate enough to get in. They weren't turning people away, at least that I didn't see. So we were able to get in fine, but it was close. If we had stayed at Hasedera any later, we probably would not have been able to see this that day, and that would have been an absolute bummer. So pay attention to the times. If you're not in Tokyo, things close early, and so just keep an eye on that. That's something that I found very important. But you get to Kotoku Inn, and there were some cherry blossoms there, which is really cool to see. And you walk in, and it's just this massive Buddha statue, and it is huge, and a ton of people there, and you really just kind of feel the energy of all the people, of the statue. And this was pretty much the only thing in this specific area, but it's worth checking out. I think it's very cool. It's a quick kind of experience, and just very cool. We got this cool pic of the 3 of us there, so that was really cool. And so then after that, we started walking down towards the water, and I can't even explain it. Like, if you're an ocean person, if you're a beach person, come to Kamakura on your trip. There's not a ton of tourists here. This isn't a spot that's popular. I think a lot of people that go to Japan for the first time are staying in Tokyo, or they're going to Kyoto as well, and Osaka, but they're not going to Kamakura because it's not as well known, right? At least to Western tourists, from my perception, right? But we get down by the water, and there's a road, and there's all these cars going by, and there's all these nice cars going by. There's these nice cars from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, a lot of retro vehicles driving by right on the water. And there's families hanging out at the beach, there's people swimming in the ocean, there's couples hanging out on dates there. It's just a really happy, healthy kind of area, right? And felt very safe there, felt very relaxed, and you're by the ocean, and there's mountains on both sides of you kind of surrounding you in. It's almost like a bay, right? It's almost like a cove kind of. And so we spent a little bit of time there by the water. Good way to cool down, right? It was a little bit warmer that day, and then we walked up, we found a restaurant, had a fantastic meal, guys. This food was so good. I think it's called Loco Moco. I think it's a Hawaiian dish that I had, but it was so fantastic. I can like almost taste it right now thinking about it. It was that good. And while we were eating, they closed the restaurant. They weren't allowing any more people in, and that was probably about 5 o'clock, 5:30. And so, in Kamakura, it closes up early, right? There is no nightlife there. So if you're going to eat, if you're going to hit, the massive Buddha statue, you're going to go to any of the shrines, do it early. Fortunately, we didn't have any problems, but very important to note that for sure. And so then after that, we go back to the ocean for a little bit at night. Really, really cool. There were some cool storm clouds coming in, and just awesome experience by night. And then we have our 25-30 minute train walk back to the train station, and the shops are closed, the roads are basically empty, there's not a lot of people out walking. Kamakura goes to bed early, and so it was really peaceful going back. And then we got on the train and we went back to Tokyo. We did our nightly ritual of going back to 7-Eleven, grab some snacks, some cool things to try, and we hit the hay because we had a big day in day 3 with Odaiba and TeamLab Planets. Day 3, we're up and at 'em. We knew that the rain was going to be here on day 3 in Tokyo, and it was raining hard. So we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do the night prior after we got back from Kamakura. Ben suggested that there was this big mall down in Odaiba, which was relatively near where TeamLab Planets was, called the Diver City Plaza, and there was a massive arcade section there called, I think it was Round 1, and so we ended up going there. So we took the train, about 45-50 minute train ride south to Odaiba, near water, kind of on a bay, and we go into this building, and there's just shops and food courts, and it's a giant mall, and on the 6th floor, I believe, there's a giant arcade, and we spend some time there. I won this really, really awesome Goku figure, which I will show a picture of you guys too. I'm so happy that I won this. And Ben won some stuff as well. He won a couple bags, which was really cool. I think Quentin also won a figure here. And so we're spending the day here. We're eating at the food court. I think I ended up eating McDonald's the first day there. And you might think that's crazy, eating McDonald's in Japan. What are you doing? But whenever I go to a new place, I always want to have the McDonald's there once, just because I want to see how it compares to the US. I want to see how it compares to the other locations of the places I've had it. And so it was very good. The food was better than the United States, there's no doubt about that. And they had this Fanta melon drink, which may be my favorite drink on the entire trip. So good, guys. I had this multiple times on the trip. If you go to Japan, or if you've been there and you've had it, but if you're going to Japan, try the Fanta melon drink. It might be a restaurant exclusive, I'm not exactly sure, but in the convenience stores, in the vending machines, all I saw was Fanta orange or Fanta grape. I didn't see Fanta melon at all, so it might be a restaurant exclusive, so just be wary of that. But on the top floor of this mall, there was this place called Spocha, and it was a sports floor. And so we signed up, we did this. It was, I don't want to call it expensive, but it was not necessarily cheap, right? I think you pay for 2 hours, an hour, 3 hours. I don't remember how much time we had in there exactly. My Quentin was the one that set it up and bought it for us. But we go to this place, and it's an entire, skyscraper, essentially, floor of sports things. So they had batting cages, they had a basketball court, they had volleyball and badminton courts, they had a roller skating rink, they had a soccer kicking game, they had an arcade section in there, its own little private arcade with different games from the other arcade in the building. They had karaoke rooms, and they had like an entire kids section as well, which we weren't allowed to go into, obviously, because we don't have children. But awesome time. We spent a couple hours in there, ripping the batting cages in the soccer game, and we did karaoke for 40 minutes, and that was our first karaoke experience. And I'm going to be talking about karaoke more later in this series. I have a lot to say about that, but it's our first time doing that, and it was funny. We were nervous doing that for the first time, and here's a clip or two about that. But so much fun. Once you shake off the nerves of singing in front of your friends, at least in my experience, knowing that I'm a terrible singer, it's so much fun. And if you can go with friends where you're not going to be judged, it's a judge-free, carefree zone, and you guys are just having fun and having snacks and drinking and singing along to your favorite songs, it is some of the most fun that I've ever had, and I definitely recommend it. But like I said, I'll talk about it more later. So we do I think we had 2 or 3 hours in this place. And then we go over to TeamLab Planets. Had to jump on the train and to walk through the rain. Take a 15-minute train ride, I think. Here's a picture of Quentin in some special seat on the train, which was pretty cool. And then funny experience, actually, funny memory that I thought I would share because it's also important to know. Tokyo has female-only cars during specific times of the day. A lot of the times it's just during rush hour in the mornings. Female-only cars, men cannot go on there, right? I had known slightly about this prior to our trip. We're on this train going towards TeamLab Planets. Ben, Quentin, and I are on this train. We're by ourselves. No one is in our car. Quentin's sitting in that seat. No one is in the car with us. We stop at a stop. All of a sudden, 12 women get into the train car. Fill all the seats next to us, standing. My heart drops because not a single other guy walked into this car. But in the car next to us, there's guys in there. So my heart dropped thinking that I just broke one of the, whether it's an unwritten rule, known rule, whatever, of being on a women-only car. Sitting in between these girls, I'm texting Ben, are we on a women-only car? And he's like, no, you're good. And we were good. It was just a funny coincidence, right? But it reminded me that there are those women-only cars and that you guys should know that, right? And there's signs, they're labeled pink. I think they have pink interiors in the cars, but it's an important tip, an important thing to know so that you, if you're a male, do not make that mistake. So we get to TeamLab Planets, and I am going to be talking about this for a while here, so sit back and relax. TeamLab Planets, this was something that I had known I wanted to do on the trip. This was one of the 2 things that I had to do on this trip. When we're planning this trip last summer, I'm asking Ben and Quentin, what are the things that you must do on this trip? For Quentin, it was going to drive on the track by Mount Fuji, and he did that. For me, it was going to TeamLab Planets, or one of the TeamLab locations rather, as well as Shibuya Sky. Those were my 2 must-dos, and if I had to do them by myself, I would have. And for Ben, it was going to Akihabara and shopping for figures, because that is his hobby, right? Happy to say that we did all of those things on this trip, but TeamLab Planets was one of the top things for me. So we get off the train, we get in line. TeamLab Planets, you have a ticket that you buy. We bought it online. I bought them through the official site. You get a time, I think you have 30 minutes time frame to enter. So as long as you're in between those 30 minutes, you're good. We went in at 8:30 p.m. at night, so a later session, right? We get in, they have the kind of, I don't want to call it a tutorial, but the, explaining what you're going to be experiencing. Here's some rules. You sit and watch that video. Then you go in, you put your bags down. For the first section, you take off your shoes. No shoes, no socks. Roll your pants up if you have pants. And if you're wearing a skirt, you're wearing a dress, they have towels or garments that they will offer you if you don't want to walk on the mirrored floors in a skirt or a dress, right? Which I thought was very, very, very fantastic for the females, right? So the first entire section, it's 4 sections. The first section is this water-based section. And so you walk up this ramp with the water, and then you walk into this room. It's like a mirrored floor, and it's just, I don't even know what it is. Like, it's lights, it's these just like strings almost, and they have lights on them, and it is just the most incredible thing. And the colors are changing and they're flowing, and they have this app where you can input the colors into the room that everyone is seeing and the animations on the screen. And you know, I'm going to spam you guys with pictures here and videos, but there's this kind of ethereal audio that's playing through this giant area, and you're walking through this path with these lights, and it looks like it goes on forever and ever, and you look up and it goes on forever and ever, and you look down and it's a mirrored floor, and you see yourself and you're surrounded by these lights, and it is just an insane experience. I can't even explain it. The videos don't do it justice. And what is fantastic about TeamLabs is once you're in. There's no rush, there's no guided, like you have to get out of this section by a certain time. So we spent some time in here just taking it all in, listening to the chill sounds. And I will say, one of the downsides of the only con I guess I have with this entire experience is nothing with TeamLabs at all. It was the tourists that were there that were disrespectful, that were loud, that were talking, that were laughing, that were letting their children run around, that were laying down on the floor taking pictures and blocking other people, and essentially acting like they're the only people in the exhibit, because this is essentially a museum, right? It's like a auditory, visual, bodily experience museum, and there's people there that are just kind of disrespecting others and souring the experience to an extent. So that was a frustrating thing, and we all got very frustrated, and I think Ben was really struggling with that, and I was too, because you're experiencing something that's so special. You're experiencing something that, you know, at least for Ben and I, we both really wanted to do this, and there's some disrespectful people, but for any major touristy thing, there are going to be those people. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. And you know, part of me feels very bad for the Japanese people that want to just go and experience this, because it is overrun by specific tourists, you know, specific people that are acting like the world revolves around them, and that there's no one else there with them in the exhibit. But with that being said, TeamLab Planets couldn't be ruined, because it's just such a great experience, right? The experience was soured slightly, but so insane, and don't let that scare you from doing it. Go do it. And yeah, so we're taking these pictures, we're taking cool pictures, and there's mirrors and there's lights and all this stuff, and eventually we go to the next area, and this is back in the water. And you know, for those that might have any health concerns, I could smell the chlorine. This is definitely like filtered sanitary water. You're not going to have to worry about like other people's feet or, you know, anything like that, because I know that I had some people asking me that after they saw the pictures, so don't have to worry about that at all. And so we walk into this room, and the water's so warm, it feels so good, and there's like these light projections on the floor or on the water, and there's koi fish swimming around, and they're not real koi, but they're projection models onto the water, and they glow, and they sense you, they sense humans, which is weird, right? Like the tech is very developed in this area, and you know, they're swimming up to you and they're swimming around you, and if you stick your hand out like you're gonna reach for one, they will quickly swim away. It's like they were real fish. Like, you would think that it would be clunky or it would be kind of silly, but it's like they are real fish. It was so incredible. And when you take a step, they move, and they go through your legs, and it's incredible. It is so dope. And you know, there is lights and there's water coming down, and it is just such an ethereal experience, and I mean, just look at the pictures, take it in yourself. It's so awesome. So we spent a little bit of time in this area, probably 20 minutes, and then you walk through this next area, and we didn't spend too much time in this area because the tourists did ruin this section. And it's these giant, like, inflatable balls, and before you walk in, there's an employee standing there with a sign telling you to not be running around, not be pushing on the balls, not kicking them, because they're massive and there's a lot of people walking around there, and they are stacked to the ceiling, and the colors are changing on the balls, and it's going from these neon greens to these pinks to these reds to these blues. And there's unfortunately some tourists that are letting their children run around and act like it's a playground and kick them and kick the balls and push them towards their family members and stuff. And so we didn't spend too much time in this exhibit. It was really cool, it looked cool, but we did not spend too much time in that exhibit. And so then the next one, this is all still the first section, by the way. So we're still barefoot, and you walk into this room, and it tells you to lay down on the mirrored floor and look up. And you look up, and it's the entire room. It's like a dome, and it's this projection model of all these flowers, and it's just endlessly going, and flowers are coming in, and you really feel like you're in this kind of, like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like a Big Bang, like, galaxy simulation of all these flowers exploding, flying towards you, and you're flying through, like, space, and you can add whatever flowers you want into the projection for the room to see on the app. And we laid here on the floor for probably a half hour, just mesmerized, and the audio is very relaxed, and people are just laying down. And this section was very nice. People were not too talkative or loud. Everyone's just laying down, and I remember the kind of little, like, information thing before we walked into this room saying that every scene, every single constant thing will never happen again in this model. Just endlessly going, and it was so cool. It was so awesome. And we lay there for a long time. When we woke up, was a little bit dizzy, but it was so cool. It was so worth it. And so I believe we go to the second section now. Yes, we go to the second section, and at this point, we're probably an hour and a half in. It's probably 10 o'clock, and they were telling us that if you want to get to the second section, because I think TeamLabs closes at 11, you have to enter by like 9:55. And so we got in, and we got into the section, and there's like last entry time for those. So if you do go late, you have to pay attention to that. But we get into the second section, and it's like this like neon, like illuminated playground, kind of like there's different challenges for you to do, like step on these things, and it's all like technologically advanced, right? Like these right here, it's like step on all the things with the same colors and get to the other side. And then it's like they had swings and like these things you have to climb and all these different areas. And this entire area is like neon and kind of like James Cameron Avatar's Pandora at night, if you guys have seen that movie. And just really, really cool, right? And we're moving along, and then there's this entire section where it's kind of like a real life Pokemon, but with extinct animals. And so you download this app, and there's these animals walking on the walls, and walking around on the walls and on the floor underneath you, and you have to try and catch them using your phone. And when you catch it using your phone, the animal, gets sucked up and disappears off the wall. And you get it in your phone, and then you put it, you flick up and you put it back onto the wall. Really, really cool. It's basically like IRL Pokemon, and you try and catch them all, right? And just the visuals, the aesthetic in here was so cool. The pictures don't do it justice, and just really, really cool. So then we go to the third section, and it was called the garden, I believe. And this was a quick section, but you go outside, and it was raining for us here, so we didn't go to this for very long. But it's these giant like eggs and there's colors and there's waves pulsating through all the eggs in the giant area. And you can walk up and you can push the egg. And you push the egg and it pulses colors through all of the other eggs in the room, and it makes noise. So cool. And it was very cool to experience in the rain, but our stuff was in the lockers, so we, I didn't have my hoodie on or anything, so I didn't want to get soaked, knowing we had a 50-minute journey back to our place after this. But really, really cool experience outside in the garden. And then finally, the last part of the garden, this was the fourth section as well, I believe, was the flower room. And you may have seen this before online, but you walk in and these flowers are on this like machine. They're like on this, I don't even know. But we walk into the room and the employee tells us, when you walk through, the flowers will raise up. And when you continue walking, they will enclose you in. And so we walk in and the flowers raise up. They raise up slowly. And we're walking through the room, and you turn around and you're enclosed. You are enclosed and you can't see the entrance. And so and then the employee offered to take some pictures of the three of us, and I'm really, really, really grateful for that. This is one of my favorite pictures on the trip of us, and just really, really cool. And so that's it for TeamLab Planets, and I hope that when I go back to Japan, I will hit up TeamLab Borderless. If you guys are on the fence about doing one of these locations, do it. Don't even think about it. It is worth it. I think our tickets were like, I want to say it was like $20 a person or something, so it's extremely affordable. And it's not just you looking around and it's not you just walking around and looking at things. You are experiencing things, you are touching things, you are feeling things, you're hearing things. This is a full body experience. I can't recommend this enough. Do it, and it is so worth it. Day 4, Akihabara, Shibuya Sky. Let's go. So we wake up, have breakfast, 7-Eleven, get on the train, and we're going to Akihabara. This is Ben's day for the most part up until Shibuya Sky. Ben wanted to do this, wanted to go to Akihabara. I'm down, right? Like, we're going to an anime, the anime kingdom, basically. Figures, games, all types of stuff. Like, get me in there, right? This is all our type of vibe. We're walking around, we're walking through all these different shops. There's some nice cars going by in Akihabara. We're looking at these figures, and it's just shops and shops and shops of figures and manga and anime and video game stuff, and it's just really, really cool, right? If you are a gamer, if you are into anime, go to Akihabara. This is the spot for you. You're gonna find stuff to take home, and there's some really cool figures that we're looking at that I kind of wish I bought now, and we're just looking for hours, right? And we ended up getting to this restaurant that was it was a hot pot place, right? Like, you go up and you pay, and this was the most expensive meal on the trip for us, right? This was about a $45 meal per person, and I didn't know that before we did it, but I'm preaching being open and doing things, and I'm glad that we did this, right? This was a fantastic meal. You walk in, they give you kind of like an intro platter of different beef cuts. You cook your own beef, and then you go up to the shop, basically, and you pick out more beef, and you cook it. It's all you can eat, and you have a 90-minute timer. You do it. There's a fee if you take a plate of beef and then you don't eat all of it, right? Because they can't give that back. So there is a fee. So when you take a plate of beef, you better eat all of it. But this was an Akihabara, and then they had a side menu as well. We brought out rice and fried chicken and unlimited soft drinks and stuff, and they had alcohol there as well. So this was a great meal, right? It was an expensive meal, the most expensive meal on the trip. It was about $45 a person, but all you can eat, really pristine beef for 90 minutes. I mean, do what you will with that information, right? Then we went back to shopping, walking through the shops, seeing different stuff. There's me and Akihabara, and really, really cool. There's a nice car, and then it was time to get on the train and head over to Shibuya Sky. And oh boy. Guys, if you're enjoying this video, if you are learning new things about Japan, please hit that subscribe button down below. Give me a thumbs up on this video. It helps me grow the channel. And like I said in my first video, I will be doing a Q&A series on Japan on my trip. And then I can, help answer your guys' questions, give you guys tips and stuff. So if you have any questions, drop them down below so that I can take note and then answer them in a video down the road. We have reached what is the highlight of my 2-week trip in Japan, and that is Shibuya Sky. And so if you're looking forward to your trip to Japan, Shibuya Sky is probably on your list, right? It's probably one of the things you're doing. This was something that stressed me out booking it, because this was something that I had to do. This was the number one thing that I had to do on this trip. The boys were interested, but they weren't, if we didn't do it, they probably wouldn't have cared, right? But this was something that I had to do. Got up, booked on their official website, and got up at 10 a.m. one morning to try and book a sunset time, because everyone says the sunset time is the best for Shibuya Sky. You might be able to see Mount Fuji. Got up at 10 a.m., was in queue, had the tickets in my cart, and they were gone. They sold out for that time, and I was devastated. I felt terrible because I had planned how I was going to buy the tickets. I got up, I planned how I was going to have them in my cart. I had my card ready to go. Didn't get the time that I wanted, and so I was devastated. But I ended up getting tickets for, I believe, 8:30 at night, and I believe it was 8 o'clock at night. And so I remember the morning I bought them, right? Kind of in between how I was feeling. I was excited because I got nighttime, and I'm a huge night guy, but I wanted the sunset time, and I felt let down. We get to Shibuya Sky. It's in the Shibuya Scramble building. There are signs on where you need to go. It's a little bit confusing. I think we had to go down an escalator, and then the end of the building, you go down an escalator, and then you had to walk around, and then you find the line to Shibuya Sky. So it was a little bit confusing, but we figured it out, got in line, got in at our time, and you go up there. You go up, and it's an indoor room. They have lockers and stuff. You put your bags away. You can't have bags on you. You cannot have anything on you. So everything has to go in the lockers. So if you guys have bags, if you've bought things, you're carrying stuff around, you have backpacks that aren't going to fit in the lockers, leave them at your place first, drop them off. You can't have stuff on you when you are on the top deck. The week leading up to this date for Shibuya Sky for us, it said rain at night, and I was so devastated because if it's raining, they will close the rooftop viewing observatory deck and you will not be able to go out there. So I'm devastated. The day arrives, clear sky, night. We get up there, we go outside. It's a full moon. It is a clear sky, it's windy, it's mid-50s, it's cold, and it's a full moon. My ideal, perfect scenario. And like everything else, once you get into Shibuya Sky, you can stay up there as long as you want. And it wasn't overly packed. I thought it would be, but no. Guys, I can't explain to you. This is one of the greatest moments of my life. This is one of the greatest highlights of my life. Tears were shed on the rooftop of this building. Seeing how beautiful Tokyo is at night, seeing how vast this city is, seeing how I made it to Japan. I cried. Quentin cried this night, and Ben may have as well, I'm not sure. But it's incredible. And I cannot recommend enough. Go for the nighttime. Everyone says, I get it, if you get the sunset, then you can see the sunset and you can stay out there for nighttime. Go at night. Go at night. The buildings are all lit up. The city is alive. You can see so much and so far. And it was a windy night and it was a full moon. And it's it's really, really awesome up there. There's 2 levels, and you can walk up onto the helipad, which is gigantic. And they have a section where there's a bunch of chairs and couches where you can just sit, and there's music going on behind you, and you just sit and you look at the largest city in the world, the most densely populated city in the world. And I was up there, we were up there for probably 3 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours. It was an incredible time. I mean, we got up there at 8 o'clock, and we left, I guess it was 2 hours. We were up there 2 hours. We were on the ground at 10 o'clock. Unbelievable experience. If you're thinking about Shibuya Sky, do it. It is worth every single penny. I went up in the Metropolitan building as well, and I will share that in not tomorrow's video, but the next video where I talk about the next day. And that was a great experience too. But Shibuya Sky is different because you are outside, you are on the roof, it is open, you are getting that natural air, you're getting the wind of being on top of a skyscraper. You are seeing the city, and when you go on the helipad, you don't have glass blocking your vision. You are seeing the city from above with your own raw eyes. Unbelievable experience, and Quentin owes me a life debt for this photo. This was one of my favorite pictures that I took on this trip. This was when he was going through it, emotionally on the trip. Not on the trip, you know what I'm trying to say. Going through it emotionally that night, just taking in the city and, all the experience and everything, and that full moon and the city lights and pure beauty. One of the highlights of my trip, one of the highlights of my life. And it really hit me in that moment, knowing that I was in a place where no one in my family has ever been before. And that just made that moment hit so much harder. So if you're questioning, you're debating about Shibuya Sky, buy the ticket. Buy it. And do it. You will not regret it. I promise you, you will not regret it. The highlight of the trip for me. So that's it for this video, guys. We went to Kamakura, we went to Odaiba, we went to TeamLab Planets, we went to Akihabara, we went to Shibuya Sky. A packed 3 days. And we have so many more days left together in Japan. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you guys learned something helpful that you could potentially take on your own trip to Japan. And if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me grow this channel. I appreciate your support as always. And in the next video, I'm having a solo day because Quentin's going off to Mount Fuji to do his racing thing. And Ben, is going to Akihabara to figure shop. So I'm going to the Shinjuku Garden. I'm hanging out in Shinjuku by myself. We are hitting karaoke night when we reunite later that night. I'm going up in the Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building. And then we're getting on the train, the Shinkansen bullet train, and we're going to Kyoto. All of that is next in my next video. I appreciate you guys as always. Safe travels. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.